it could all come down to one game. And what game are
Yeah.
you going to think of? You're going to think of the game that they were winning. Stanton
Yeah.
comes into the game as a pinch hitter. He's 3 for like 8 million as a pinch hitter. He gives you a double, right? Gives you the lead. And then
Yeah.
you decide, oh, let's put the new guy in.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm one of your hosts, Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And with me, as usual, is my co-host, Brian McKeon. Good weekend?
30 something runs for the Yankees in one weekend. I mean, who could draw it up better than that?
Things could have been better. We'll discuss that. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, hit the bell so you're notified when those videos go live. And if we go live, which I keep teasing this, we're going to do it soon. We're going to do it soon. And it's not as scary as you think it is. So coming up on today's show, we preview the Orioles series, which I didn't realize was a 4-game series until I read the rundown and I double-checked the schedule and thought, wow, the schedulers are having fun this season. We'll discuss what went down in Milwaukee. It's Miners Monday, and we're going to talk about Hudson Valley. But first, let's talk about Milwaukee because could have been a sweep.
Yeah, that first game is going to be one of those that goes down and annoys you for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. That's the way I felt about it when I watched it. We were texting during it. It was one of those just I still can't understand what he was doing. And you score 30 runs in the next 2 games, so the winning is the ultimate deodorant, right? It cures everything. But that first game is one of those. Aaron Boone's been the manager for how many years now? Yeah. And you watch that game and you see those decisions in the bullpen at the end of the game. You're keeping a guy in for a second inning after giving up the lead, or I guess tying the game, letting the game get tied.
Yeah.
Bro, he stays in the game, and no one can understand why. Clay Holmes only got 10 innings, and a dude you met 6 hours ago was going out for a second inning that you trust in extra innings. Couldn't remotely comprehend that. Can't sit here and say I'm not happy with the weekend because they played really well. They scored, obviously, 30 runs in 2 days. But, man, that Friday game just, I don't want to be a pessimist. But that Friday game leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
It does, because the problem is, since the Manfred ban came into effect, the Yankees are 3-15 on the road in extra inning games. And it's not just the hitters not doing things. It's also Boone making dumb decisions like this, because it's not the first time that he's done that. And if you're not managing for the game that's happening at the moment and you're thinking about the future, then what the hell's the point?
Yeah. And those are, and I said it to you, I said it to people that I was texting that are friends of mine. Those are the games that again, and I keep saying this, and I hope I'm not annoying our listeners by saying this, but it's the truth, guys. Come September, those games are going to bite you in the butt. They are. These are games that when you're 2 games back of Baltimore in September and you're fighting for the AL East, that game's going to matter. And then they're going to look back and say, hey, remember that game against Milwaukee that you lost by a run because you kept Tranokinen or whatever the heck his name is? Yeah, because you. I mean, the guy's been on 4 teams this year already. Twice with the Mets. He's been on 2 teams 2 times already this year. Been DFA'd 4 times, and I get it. The Yankees picked him up. They made a move. Cool. We can discuss that all we want. But you met the guy 6 hours ago. He barely got to the stadium on time for warm-ups, and he was trusted enough to go not just 1 inning, but 2 extra innings. I mean, and you wanted to be able to manage the rest of the series and be ready for Baltimore. I get that. I really do. But Boone also didn't know he was saving arms for Saturday and Sunday, not knowing they were going to score 30 runs on Saturday and Sunday and not need those arms. So now the arms are extra fresh. So you could have used all the arms on Friday, and you didn't. And then we find out Ian Hamilton had arm fatigue, and that's why he didn't pitch in that game. He wasn't available. That Boone conveniently lied to us about and didn't tell us that he had arm fatigue. That was a report that didn't make the news, by the way. I don't know if you realize that. It was just that those are the games that, again, there's a lot of positives this weekend, right? Glaber seemed to woke up. Judges looks like, the hot Judge all of a sudden. He's starting to flare up a little bit. Stanton had a really nice had a really nice weekend. Stanton had there's not a lot of complaints to be made, right? Rodon pitched really well. There's not a lot of complaints except for Stroman today. But overall, that game Friday, I sound like a pessimist, but that eats at me. It really does.
Yeah. It's not even just being a pessimist. It's just being someone who realizes that it could all come down to one game. And what game are you going to think of? You're going to think of the game that they were winning. Stanton comes into the game as a pinch hitter. He's 3 for like 8 million as a pinch hitter. He gives you a double, right? Gives you the lead. And then you decide, oh, let's put the new guy in.
And that's what bothers me too, is you put the new guy in and the game gets tied. And that's fine. Okay. He gives it up. He got out of damage to begin with. There was a runner on third, if anyone realized. There was a runner on third. He got out of it. He barely skated free. All right. Call it a nice Yankee debut and move on and put it in bullpen. And instead we sent him out for a second in the extra inning. The second inning made less sense than the first inning. The first inning to me made no sense. The second inning made absolutely no sense. I still don't understand. And then you ask Boone, oh, I liked what I saw. I liked his enough with I like the stuff. You met him 3 hours ago. You don't even know his last name. That's one of those games again. Like, that is a game when you're chasing teams, and clearly, like, they're a game separated from Baltimore right now. And they're probably going to be like that up until the end of the year. This division will finish within 5 games more than likely. That's a game that you're going to kick yourself for. It is.
Yep. But positively, let's talk about the good stuff. The fact that the guys woke up, because after, Friday they scored 6 runs, but the middle of the lineup was 5 for 14, like just awful. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people rightly were blaming them. But when you score 6 runs, you should probably win a game. So I'm putting that on Boone. Saturday, the guys that everyone was complaining about suddenly woke up. Like, what happened here? Just all of a sudden, oh, Judge can hit. Cool. Oh, Rizzo remembers how to hit a ball. Awesome. And then kind of what happens again Sunday?
We kind of figured Judge was going to wake up, and this is really positive for me going up. I mean, you're talking about one of the better teams in baseball, Milwaukee. Their record is really good this year. Now they're 18th in giving up runs, so they've given up a lot of runs this year, but they do score a lot of runs too. And they bludgeoned them in both of these games. Volpe's looked awesome. Stanton's waking up. Judge's waking. It all seemed to click in this weekend, and it kind of goes back to the quote that we were talking about last week, right? When Cashman came out, and I didn't like the quote. When he was saying, oh, well, one guy's going to click this week and one guy's going to click this week. And then, no, I want everything to click at the same time. Because when everything clicks at the same time, this is what you see. Yeah. This is what happens. This is the team that you get. So I want everything to click at the same time. And this is what it looks like. I wanted to get out of curiosity. By the way, happy birthday to Anthony Volpe, 23 years old. Wish I could be making that kind of money at 23 years old. But let's go over first, before we get into Stroman, what Rodon did yesterday. Yeah. Because I got to be honest with you. Saturday, I got to be honest with you. He has started to actually prove to all of us that he is the Carlos Rodon that they signed. He is pitching like a $31 million a year pitcher right now. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I felt confident going into the game on Saturday and seeing how he was doing. And I was very obviously happy with the result, because when your team does end up scoring a bunch of runs, sometimes it happens where the starter, like, he's cruising and then will kind of relax a bit and then something will happen. You know what I mean? And that didn't happen, really. No. So that was a good sign from him.
And he had one hiccup in the first inning. Reese Hoskins took him yard. Other than that, he was tremendous the entire day. He cruised the entire day. He was vintage Carlos Rodon. He was San Francisco Giants Rodon. He was White Sox Rodon. He was that level of good. And I was texting you, and I put it in the rundown, and we discussed over the weekend. If he's going to pitch like that, and Garrett Cole comes back with sneakily a fresher arm because he didn't have to go through these 2 months, that could be a really scary one too at the top of a rotation. If Rodon's going to pitch like that, and then you have a guy like Stroman, who I didn't love his start today, but
he was all over the place. Yeah, it was one of those games.
He's kind of a guaranteed. He's not going to give up more than 5 runs in a game. I don't know, Stace. I'm really encouraged by Rodon's pitching.
Yes. The other thing we should point out about his game on Saturday is we've been talking about all the pitches that he's been using in the starts, and he did use every pitch, but he was fastball slider heavy. He threw 93 pitches on Saturday. 49 were four-seam fastballs, 25 were sliders. The rest of the 19 were mixed between the changeup, the cutter, and the curveball. So he went back to what he used to do, the fastball slider, and it really worked for him well on Saturday.
Which means his confidence is getting up, right? He's getting confident to go back to the old Rodon and what his bread and butter really is, where he's made his money. Hey, look at his last 2 starts: 13 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned, 12 Ks. I mean, that's as elite as any pitcher in baseball. And go through sneakily, a lot of pitchers have had trouble getting going this year. You've seen it a lot. There have not been many guys that have gone out and dominated every single start so far. Carlos Rodon is one of them. He's got some of the better numbers in all of baseball when it comes to starters. So I'm really, really happy and satisfied with what I've seen out of Rodon so far.
Yep, this is what we wanted to see in 2023. It's a season late, but it's not too late.
You're still getting it.
It's good. It's like perfect timing because, as you said, with Cole gone, they need the other guys to step up. So quickly, they put Verdugo in the cleanup spot on Saturday. The offense wakes up.
Yeah,
amazing. So Judge homers, Glaber gets hits, Rizzo 300th home run on Sunday, 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and a home run. Just unbelievable. He suddenly woke up. And it was only the 5th time in franchise history that the team scored 15 or more runs in 2 games in a row.
It's got to be during like the old days, right? Like the 27 Yankees, I'm sure did. The 23 Yankees, probably. Those great teams from back then had to have done it. I can't remember in my lifetime them scoring 15 runs in 2 consecutive games. Yeah. I remember some barn burners where they've scored a lot of runs. I don't remember 2 consecutive 15-run games.
Yeah, they had those 2 games against the Rays, one in April of 2005 and one in June of 2005, where they scored 13 runs in 1 inning in each of those games against the poor Devil Rays. I've seen that happen, but yeah, no, I haven't seen 2 15-run games in a row. Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, 2 out of 3, really good. Better than, because like you said, Milwaukee's one of the better teams in baseball. Yes, the pitching isn't that great, but going into Milwaukee and nearly sweeping, amazing.
Yeah, and especially with Baltimore struggling now. Baltimore had a lot of trouble with Oakland. So with them struggling, they had to actually send Jackson Holiday down because he was really struggling coming in. That's a good sign. Go in, take care of what you need to take care of. These are really important games because if these teams are tied late in the season, you're going to want these wins. You're going to want these wins. And they see Corbin Burns on Thursday, on Wednesday or Thursday. I believe it's Wednesday. They see Corbin Burns. It's going to be a real big test for the Yankees.
Yep. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. Also reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description. You'll get texts from us. You can text us questions. We send out roster moves and lineups if I remember. And there's a 14-day free trial. So coming up next, it's Miners Monday, and we're going to talk about Hudson Valley. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and if you're still scratching your head for what to get your mom for Mother's Day, fret not. DoorDash is here to save the day. So picture you're at your mom's house. Maybe it's early afternoon and you haven't quite given her something yet. And then all of a sudden the doorbell rings and there's a bouquet of flowers there for her because you ordered from DoorDash. You can order anything you want and have it delivered right to her doorstep on the same day. With DoorDash, you can make Mother's Day one to remember. You can shower your mom with all the love and appreciation she deserves without even stepping out of your house. You can also pair a gift card to her favorite bookstore or coffee shop, and you can watch her face light up even more. So why wait? Order now. Let DoorDash take care of everything you need to make this Mother's Day truly special. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order, up to $15, when you spend 15 or more on flowers, convenience, groceries, or retail. Again, that's Locked On MLB. So order now and make this Mother's Day one for the books. DoorDash, delivering joy one doorstep at a time. Terms apply. All right, we've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's the bottom of the ninth. Your team's down to the last strike. It's not looking good. You're feeling low. You're not sure if you or your team can pull out a win. And that's when you dig deep. You lift your head up. You say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right. The smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's basically the Monopoly you love, but it's on your phone anytime, and there's a ton of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. And there's so much to do. You can make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball. You can also do bank heists where you steal money from people. I stole $60 million from someone earlier on Sunday, and it made me very happy. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests, and there are tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free in the App Store or on Google Play. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for you every day, bringing you the biggest sports stories that you can find. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, and it's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees.
Good work.
I did it again. I think that's like
Proud of
5
you.
shows in a row. I'm so proud of myself. See, once I learn how to say something, I can say it, which I mean stands to reason. Once you learn something, it should stick in your brain. But you know.
No, you got a normal brain. It's showing.
Yeah. Yay for my normal brain. So it's Miners Monday. Hooray. We're going to talk about the Hudson Valley Renegades, who are only about 40 minutes from my house. And I still have not been there because I don't drive. So it's hard for me to get anywhere. And but I will. I'll make it up there, I swear, Joe Facile. He sends me the emails with all the game notes and everything. He's been on the show. He's a really good dude. He works really hard. He does play-by-play. He does like all the game notes and everything. Just, I don't know if he sleeps or not. But if you live in the area, go see the Hudson Valley Renegades. So the top prospect in the system, or no, in their team,
their system,
12th in the system, Kyle Carr is 0-1 with a 3.77 ERA. Right now, the team's 11-8, third place in the North Division. I love that they play 6-game series. Could you imagine if they did that in the majors?
Yeah, there's not enough teams in the entire high A, like in their division, to not make it worth it. So they're all playing 6-game series. It's unique.
Yeah, it's crazy because when I first realized that, I was like, oh, wait, what? 6?
Mhm.
That's a lot of games to play one team, but it's basically like a playoff series
And
every
it's weird.
week.
I know a lot of Yankee fans probably don't pay attention to them, but they are it's like a pitching farm down there.
Yeah.
They just it's like they just focus on pitching. There's not a lot of hitting going on, but all of their young pitchers are working, and they've got some impressive numbers actually they're putting up.
Yeah, tell them about Sebastian Keane.
Sebastian Keane 2 nights ago struck out 10. And in 16 innings this month, he has 19 strikeouts. So he's pitching at over a 9 strikeouts per 9, which is what you kind of want. That's the delineation line that you really want to live at. And I think these are guys that are developing to be bullpen pieces. I think they're trying to develop high velocity, high strikeout rate arms because that's what you need coming out of the bullpen. It's kind of cool that in Hudson Valley, they're developing their own little pitching factory. And they're using these they're developing big time arms, and this is how teams have to do it now, because you only have that once in a generation reliever that comes around like a Josh Hader that you can lose to other teams, right? Like he can go sign with Houston and then you don't have a chance at him. You can trade for those guys, but you're going to give up guys that you could just develop on your own to trade for them. So why not develop them on your own and bring them up through your own system? That's what they did with Chance Adams. That's what they did with Michael King. All these great relievers that they wound up developing. Johnny Lasagna. All these guys that came up through their system that they developed all went through the same system. So they're clearly trying to develop high velocity, high strikeout rate relievers, and it's working down at this level. It is.
Yeah. Last season, they had 2 relievers who were 6'8" and 6'9". One of them is Jack Neely. He's up with Somerset now. But I always joke about, where do these big dudes come from? And now we know, because the Yankees are hiding some of them in their system. It's unbelievable. Hudson Valley's been struggling lately to stay consistent with their scoring. They just split 6 games with Bowling Green, who is the Rays high A team.
Yep.
But it's amazing that the Yankees are able to develop these guys, because then when they get to Somerset and you hear about, like, last year, Somerset's pitching
Yeah,
staff was really good. The Yankees traded one of them to the Red Sox for Verdugo, Richard
yeah.
Fitz. We had him on the show, and Steve and I were like excited about how he was progressing in Somerset, and then he got traded. And so when we had Michael Kay on the show, Steve's like, I don't want to scare you. He's like, but the last person we had on the show got traded to the Red Sox. So, and that was Richard Fitz. So yeah, it's amazing to watch these guys go from level to level to level and see how they progress, because some of the guys that we're mentioning here will probably be in Somerset maybe
Yeah.
sooner
Or could
than
be part of a big package. Like,
Yeah.
these could be guys that are included. These are names that you want to learn, because you want to know how good they are when they give them up at the, like, you don't want to get yourself caught in that situation when they make a trade a year or two down the road and you go, who's that guy they traded? You want to know who they traded, if it's a pitcher you like or you don't like that you wanted them to trade. And it's sneakily to see, because you've thought their farm system with all the trades they've made over the last few years, really since 2017, they had the top ranked farm in the entire major leagues. And then you'd think after all the trades they made that it kind of dipped off a little bit and they've gotten worse. They still have the 11th ranked farm system in all of baseball right now. And I don't know if you realize that, like, you would think after all the moves that it's gotten worse, and it's gotten worse, but not to the level
Not that much.
look at what a team like the Mets did when they moved on for some of their guys. Their farm dipped completely down into the low 20s. I mean, 11th is still really good, and they've got 4 guys in the top 100. So, that's a little bit of positivity to look at. And again, like I said before, no one, I think, in this farm system of their prospects, other than Dominguez, it should be considered a non-tradable piece at this point. You're in it to win a World Series. If there's a piece to be made, if there's a piece to go get, you go get that guy.
Yeah. The Renegades are now going on a 12-game road trip after this series that they just split with Bowling Green. That's a long that's a long trip.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll do okay on that trip, because that's wow. So 2 6-game series on the road.
Yeah.
They're not going to be back. They're not going to be back home till mid-May. That's
Doesn't
crazy.
a 6-game series sound a little monotonous though? To be like away for 12 games, that's a long amount of time to be in. And some of these minor league cities, like the single A cities, are no name towns. Like, they're not staying in the fanciest hotel in the world here. They're not staying in these great hotels either. 12 games, 6-game series sound brutal.
It's not an easy life. It really isn't. You really have to love baseball and realize that you have to pay your dues in the minors to make your way up to the majors. And this is what you have to do. You have to go to these podunk towns and stay in these little hotel, motel places and ride on buses to make it up to the majors. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately part of the process. On the way back, we're going to go over the series in Baltimore. To this date, probably the biggest series they've played this year, right? So we're going to go over that on the way back and discuss the pitching matchups, because there's a lot of really, really good pitching matchups in that one. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. The bet that I like tonight is the Denver Nuggets to finish off their series with the Los Angeles Lakers and take LeBron out in 5. Denver's minus 7.5-point favorite. I like them at that number at home to close out that series. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And remember that you can also catch us on every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Stacey, they go to what used to be Bronx South and now has its own home advantage in Camden Yards in Boston. Big 4-game series, Monday through Thursday. Weird start times. Every game is 6:35, except for the Thursday game. It's at 1:00.
I appreciate the 6:35 because that makes that makes the post game time earlier.
A lot easier. First game is going to be Clark Schmidt versus Grayson Rodriguez. Clark Schmidt's 2-0 with a 3.55, and Rodriguez is 3-1 with a 4.45. Really intriguing matchup here. Let's hope that Schmidt can finally give us a start where he goes a little deeper into the game.
Yeah, wouldn't count on it, but it would be nice. I'm also worried about Grayson Rodriguez because just because his ERA is 4.45 doesn't mean he's not going to shut down the Yankees. I'm also worried about the starter in Game 2 against Nestor Cortez, Dean Kramer, because he also sometimes likes to shut down the Yankees when he's not pitching well against anyone else.
He had an unbelievable year last year, Dean Kramer, and it's a typical Yankees dominated start, right? Coming into the game with a 5 ERA, struggled to get going this year. He'll somehow find his rhythm against the Yankees, right? That's the game that I look to fade the Yankees. The one that I actually really do like the matchup is the Game 3 matchup, Heel versus Corbin Burns. That's going to be a really interesting series to see how he looks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Heel performs against Corbin Burns and how the Yankees do against Corbin Burns, because he's going to be with the Orioles a while.
They're going to I think that's one of those guys that new owner throws a lot of money at, right? Like because they haven't spent a lot of money since the new owners come in, but new ownership, the last ownership really didn't like to spend a lot of money. Corbin Burns coming in, ace type pitcher. They haven't had that kind of pitcher in the last couple of years. Look for Corbin Burns to sign a nice, juicy, like $250 million contract in the offseason. The Yankees are probably going to have to see him for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, though, the Rodon, Irvin, like every single one of these games seems like a big game, even though it's the end of April, early May, just because Baltimore is the team to beat basically in the AL East. And they're coming into this series, the Yankees are coming into this series on a high. They beat the holy heck out of Milwaukee in their home stadium. And Baltimore's coming into this just having gotten beaten by the A's 2 out of 3. So
don't let up, though.
That's
got to be the motivation from Boone is don't let your foot up. Don't let your foot off the gas, because this Baltimore team, it still is one of the top tier teams in baseball. And they've kind of teetered, and they've been treading water for a little bit this year, but they'll get going in a heartbeat. Right. And they've been right around the same spot that you've been. Great offense, really good pitching staff. Again, Dean Kramer's awesome. Corbin Burns has had a really good year coming in also. I'm interested in this Game 4 too, to see what Rodon gives you too. And I know Rodon just went out there against Milwaukee and looked really good. And I loved what I saw. This start against Baltimore, though, is the team that he's going to see a lot throughout his Yankee career. This is a team that's going to see him a lot through his Yankee career. I want to see how Carlos Rodon performs in these kind of moments. Because, again, he is your ace. Like, whether you like it or not, he is the team's ace until Garrett Cole comes back. And as a number 2, once you get into a postseason series, I hate to say it, you need Carlos Rodon to be an ace. Even as a number 2, he's got to be at an ace level type pitcher. So this is a type of team that he's going to see. These are the types of teams that you need to see Carlos Rodon have elite stuff against. He can go out there and he can dominate the Royals of the world, who are playing well but still aren't great. He can dominate the Reds and the Rays and all these middle of the road kind of teams that aren't necessarily great. I want to see him dominate the division rivals. I want to see him go out there and dominate Baltimore. I want to see him go out there and dominate teams that you're going to be struggling against all year. That's what's key to me, because Garrett Cole dominates the Orioles. Garrett Cole shuts them down every single time he sees them. And guys like, Aaron Judge shows up against the Orioles. Gleyber Torres used to show up against the Orioles. But you get my point, is your best players have to perform against the best teams. That's when these games matter most. And that's what I want to see out of Rodon, because Rodon, although he struggled last year, came into this team as one of the top pitchers in all of baseball, got a contract like one of the top pitchers in all of baseball. Let's see him perform like one of the top pitchers in all of baseball.
Right. One brief thing before we go. Can we mention the fact that the Rays got swept by the Chicago White Sox? Because I can't believe it. if you're not paying attention, Chicago is horrible. They're awful. They're
and now
awful.
the Marlins have a worse record than Chicago, believe it or not, because Chicago just won 3 games in a row. I think Chicago's up to what, 7 wins now?
Right.
So I think it's 7 wins, which is, I mean, they almost doubled their season total. They are so, and it's crazy to think about where they came from, because you're talking 2 or 3 years ago, Chicago was looked at as a legitimate World Series contender. That's how good they're coming into the year. And my God, are they bad?
Yeah,
I mean, they are so bad.
Don't get me started on the fact that Chicago's the number 3 market in the country, and the White Sox have never signed anyone higher than what they gave Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And Benintendi had a great series. Benintendi's the only guy performing for them. Should be a nice trade chip for them. But they are so unbelievably bad, that team. I mean, they're gonna flirt with the all-time record. I honestly think so. They might win like 45 games. They're that bad of a team. They are. Look at their roster. Look at their pitching staff. And if you don't think they're going to trade guys at the deadline, you're right. They're going to trade most of their roster. Miami doesn't feel as bad as they perform. They just feel like they've gotten off to a bad start. Chicago's just bad, just awful. So really crazy to see.
Miami's just having karma happen after what they did to Kim Ng.
Yeah, letting her go. For no reason.
That's basically what it is. All right, one more time. Don't forget to join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description below and a 14-day free trial. You can text us. You can get texts from us. We'll text you. It's fun. And speaking of the questions, you can leave them under our pinned comment below to get your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. But if you join the Insiders Club, you get top priority. And remember, let's not be like Chris Russo and mispronounce that name. Or that word. He says remember. I don't know why, but he does. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. And I'm sure someone's going to get mad at me in the comments because I said something bad about Mad Dog. Don't get me started on Mad Dog. I could do a whole show about him, but I won't. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go, Rangers.